Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. NIL has been the hot topic over the last week or so. You got coaches out there like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart crying to SEC commissioners, wanting change, wanting something to look different. I think it's funny. I think it's comical that fans of other teams come into the comment section and laugh at Tennessee. They mock Tennessee for the statements that I made, about Nick Saban, about Kirby Smart, about Lane Kiffin being scared of Tennessee and their NIL collective. But, I don't remember ever a time in my life growing up where I went and complained about a rule if I thought it benefited me. That's not something I ever thought to do, was to complain about a rule or a law that favored me. But is that what Nick Saban's doing? You don't think that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart are threatened by the way that NIL is playing out? If they're not, why would they be going to the commissioner to complain? Why would the SEC commissioner be going to the Capitol? And the NCAA put out a statement yesterday that they are cracking down on NIL and NIL collectives. We're going to see what their statement said and get into what exactly it means for the future of Tennessee football and also for NIL in general. But as always, do me a favor, make sure you smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts, we're not insiders. We are fans just like you. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. It is Tuesday. My favorite night of the week. Will be live 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time playing NCAA 2013 on the Xbox 360. If video games aren't your thing, I get it. Come hang out. We'll still talk vol football. We'll talk about this NIL deal. We'll talk about recruiting, whatever you guys want to get into. But let's go ahead and jump into this. This is from the official NCAA website. Division I Board of Directors issues name, image, and likeness guidance to schools. Now let's go down. This gets a little long-winded, but we'll kind of burn through it and then make some comments. Says the Division I Board of Directors on Monday issued guidance to schools regarding the intersection between recruiting activities and the name, image, and likeness environment. Look, NIL, all this was passed. All this went into play last July. Don't you think it's a little late to be putting out guidance to schools regarding recruiting and NIL? Just my thoughts. Board members emphasized the continued support for the ability of student athletes to benefit from their name, image, and likeness. The guidance is intended to provide clarity for those engaging in a rapidly evolving NIL environment, acknowledging that the environment will continue to evolve and ongoing attention will be needed to ensure student athletes are able to benefit from these opportunities. Do you think the NCAA is really concerned that athletes are not able to benefit? You really think that that's the driving force behind that? It's so ridiculous. It's insulting. It's insulting for the NCAA to act like they are concerned about the student athletes and they have the student athletes, priorities at the forefront. It's embarrassing. It goes on to say the guidance was developed by a task force of national leaders with student-athlete opportunity at the forefront of discussion. Give me a break. Specifically, the guidance defines as a booster any third-party entity that promotes an athletics program, assists with recruiting, or assists with providing benefits to recruits, enrolled student-athletes, or their family members. Says the definition could include collectives set up to funnel name, image, and likeness deals to prospective student-athletes or enrolled student-athletes who might be considered transferring. NCAA recruiting rules preclude boosters from recruiting and or providing benefits to prospective student-athletes. So basically what you're saying is I can't go in and lure somebody to the transfer portal, right? It's happening all across the country. Good luck, NCAA. Good luck proving it. And now you're saying that third-party entities such as Spire Sports Group can't be involved in recruiting? Give me a break. Guess what? Tennessee just passed the law. Tennessee just made it official that Spire Sports Group can now communicate with the school one-on-one in terms of recruiting and NIL. So what does that mean for state laws? Is it going to come down to lawsuits? Is the beloved game of college football going to be settled in a courtroom instead of on a field of play? Is that the direction that we are heading? It says here the guidance is effective immediately. Immediately. For violations. Now, let's read this again. The guidance is effective immediately. However, they go on to say for violations that occurred prior to May 9th, The board directed that the enforcement staff to review the facts of individual cases, but to pursue only those actions that are clearly contrary to the published interim policy, including the most severe violations or of recruiting rules or payment for athletics performance. So again, guidance is in effect as of May 9th, but we're going to go back. We're going to retroactively go back and review what took place prior to us putting this guidance into effect. NCAA at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's comical. I think it is absolutely comical that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart cry wolf, so immediately this goes into effect. We go back to last year. What did we as Tennessee fans complain about, right? We're going to complain about rules that impact us. We've got Ole Miss, the fainting goats out there, laying down on the field, slowing down the speed of play, using basically multiple free timeouts in order to come away with a win against Tennessee. That's what we complain about because that rule impacted us. It goes to the NCAA. They review it. It takes months. I mean, this takes a matter of days, and this is going into play. But the NCAA takes months to review the rule of the fainting goats, comes back and says, nothing's going to change. As long as it doesn't impact the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world, then we're going to keep on rolling the way we are going. However, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, cry wolf, and this goes into effect within a week. We're talking about a matter of weeks, guys, that all of a sudden the landscape for NIL changes. Goes on to say here today, the Division I Board of Directors took a significant first step to address some of the challenges and improper behaviors that exist in the NIL environment that may violate our long-established recruiting rules, while the NCAA may pursue the most outrageous violations that were clearly contrary to the interim policy adopted last summer. Interim policy. Why are you rolling it out with an interim policy? NCAA, again, at its finest, at its absolute finest. Says here, our focus is on the future. The new guidance establishes a common set of expectations for the Division I institutions moving forward, and the board expects all Division I institutions to follow our recruiting rules and operate within these reasonable expectations. This is where it gets great. Said board chair Jeer Moorhead, president, University of Georgia. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. It goes on to say the board noted that emphasis of this NIL guidance is on the boosters in the recruiting process and is not intended to question the eligibility of prospective and enrolled student athletes involved in NIL deals. Only the most serious actions that clearly violate the previously published interim policy would have eligibility implications. Now, last night in the Monday night chat over at VAWLS, this was clearly a hot topic. A lot of people asking questions. Should Spire Sports Group be worried? And Brent Hubbs, Austin Price both kind of chimed in on it. And what they had to say was that this Spire Sports Group is going to have to answer some questions, but probably doesn't need to be concerned. That the way they viewed it, that nothing is going to change. All of this is going to continue to play out the same. It's going to happen behind the scenes. NIL is still going to play a huge factor in the world of recruiting. Goes on to finish up here. The board adopted the interim guidance last summer with an understanding that they would consider further guidance as the NIL environment developed. This additional guidance is appropriate now that there is a better understanding about the impact on student athletes. Again, the NCAA, we're going to pretend that we care about the student athlete. Board members also urge schools to investigate, detect, and self-report violations and cooperate with the NCAA enforcement staff as they investigate. Board members acknowledge that the work must be done and ask the Division I Council to continue exploring additional measures to better ensure NIL opportunities align with NCAA values and protect the well-being of student athletes. Again, we're going to pretend that we are concerned about the well-being of student athletes. Look, guys, I usually try to keep these videos around 10 minutes, but there's more to discuss here. There's more to talk about because, again, what does this mean for the future of NIL? And normally I am not a fan of Paul Finebaum, not at all a fan of him, but I like what he had to say in regards to all this. He was on WJOX 94.5 FM with an interview talking about all of this, and I really like what he had to say, so we're going to play the audio here and give it a listen. A little overtime today on this Tuesday morning video.
The easiest thing to do right now is to call a coach and to get one coach to accuse the other of cheating. And by the way, that's always happened. Off camera, off the record, but now it's happening on the public record, and it just doesn't matter. And listen, I want to make this clear before I say what I'm about to say. You guys know me. I spent the early part of my career thinking that I could play a role in maybe cleaning up the cheating in college athletics. I'm on the other side of that right now. If I'm at a school that needs players, I'm going to go out and get those players, guys. I mean, why not? I mean, we're not talking about Nick Saban and Kirby Smart here and Jimbo Fisher here. We're talking about coaches that need star players to maintain their viability.
That is an interesting point. That's why I love this quote from Paul Finebaum. I'm not talking about the Nick Sabans or the Kirby Smarts or the Jimbo Fishers. I'm not talking about the guys that have had success over the last decade in the world of recruiting. I'm talking about the guys that are utilizing NIL to close the gap, level the playing field. Now, all of a sudden, the guys like Jimbo Fisher, the guys like, although it's, in my opinion, it's clearly benefiting Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, but the guys like Kirby Smart, the guys like Nick Saban, they do not like it because they are now falling behind. So clearly they have a problem with NIL.
And I think everyone is pushing the envelope as much as you can, and some are just obliterating the line between good and evil here. And there's nobody in charge, and that's why the NCAA saying they're going to crack down on somebody is so comical. If you're trying to get a player right now who's like the guy from Pittsburgh, you have to cheat. You're just not going to call that guy up and say, Mr. Addison, I would love for you to come visit our school. We want to show you around, show you the academic center, show you the library, show you the research and development. You basically have to do one thing. You have to show him the money. That's where we are right now.
Show him the money, because that's all that matters in 2022 recruiting in college football for the elite level players, guys like Jordan Addison. Like you said there, when Addison goes into the portal, it's all about the money. It's all about the money, and of course it is. When you decide to make NIL legal, when you decide to make paying players legal, that's what recruiting is all about. So now when you put out these rules and these, we got to follow this and follow that, and the NCAA claiming they're going to crack down again, I love it from Paul Finebaum there saying it is comical. It is a joke what the NCAA thinks they're going to be able to do. It's the Wild West. You open the floodgates. There's no turning back. You might as well give in. I think the NCAA is going to be dead sooner rather than later. Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. A lot to unpack there. I think it's all fluff from the NCAA. I think it's all threats, and it all means nothing. Tennessee is going to continue to thrive in NIL. We are going to continue to move forward with the success in the class of 23. Alabama's and the Georgias, they're behind. Whether their fan base wants to admit it or not doesn't really matter. The truth is the truth. But make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. What better time to wear this Beat Bama shirt than right now when Nick Saban's in the media crying? Also, you got the Beat Florida and Beat Georgia. Again, Kirby Smart wants to cry about NIL. Let's rep this Talkin' VAWLS Beat Georgia shirt. Any and all support, greatly appreciated, guys. Again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. Hope to see you guys in the chat tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Gonna have a good time. That's gonna do it for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.